Eagle fans, don't we feel good this week? Don't we feel so excited? Man, it's been one of the best feelings ever. We have a lot to go over today. We're going to be going over trade deadline, rumors coming out, a trade that actually happened that the Eagles probably should have been involved in, but some more players and more rumors on edge rushers, and maybe Howie has a little bit of interest in some other positions. Surprisingly, we're going to be going over the defense for the Philadelphia Eagles, the really big standouts, and Fred Johnson, that's been the unsung hero of this offensive line that we really have to give respect to. So let's get straight into all the news.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So 5-2, the Philadelphia Eagles coming off this one of the most completed games that they've had in a while, besides obviously the first quarter and how much time, the Bengals took to get downfield, and really not having enough time there where I think they could have at least put some points on the board, which, I think they would have done that. But man, a team effort, an all-around team effort from the Philadelphia Eagles. Less Nick Sirianni, more Kellen Moore, and more playmakers, guys having fun. But we have a lot to discuss here. I think the first thing I really want to go over is Fred Johnson, just what he's been doing since he got to the Philadelphia Eagles, going in for Jordan Mailata for the past few weeks. Now, it was a rough start for Fred Johnson, okay, where he was giving up some pressures when he took over the game and stuff like that. I think Lane, a couple guys went out. Fred Johnson went in and switched sides once Jordan Mailata ended up getting hurt. But in this Bengals game, Fred Johnson completely shut down, Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals. The Bengals went into this game against the Eagles with 12 sacks already under their belt, I think. Okay, Trey Hendrickson has 7 sacks accounted for by himself. I thought he did an amazing job. You can see in some of the video that he did. There was a little bit of pressure here and there, but I thought he did a fantastic job. I really did. I mean, just holding him down. You can't ask for more. I don't know what the contract looks like for Fred Johnson. I think they did extend him for a year. Now, I don't know if they did that this year or was that last year, but sometimes these injuries are a blessing in disguise. Okay. And when you have a guy that comes in like this, God forbid you need him down the road. Okay. Fred Johnson might be a starting left tackle for another team. I don't know if he plays the right side as well. I don't know if he plays the right side well, but I think the left side, he's been pretty damn good. Pretty good. Trey Hendrickson was definitely one of the players I was worrying about going to this game, and I thought he did a fantastic job just manhandling him all game, which was great. So it's nice not to see Trey Hendrickson's name being mentioned throughout this game. Oh, man, just look at this. Just fantastic. Fred Johnson, unsung hero. You know who else is unsung hero with this offensive line? Tyler Steen. Since Mekhi Becton has been out, okay, Tyler Steen has 82 pass blocking snaps, 0 quarterback hits allowed, 0 sacks allowed. I think he's been really good, especially in the run game with some of his run blocking. But Tyler Steen, this is a guy that got hurt twice in the offseason program. But Mekhi Becton and Tyler Steen were kind of neck and neck in the offseason program, training camp. And then, Mekhi Becton started to go down, a couple times with some injuries, was out for multiple weeks. And I forgot what injury he had. It was a hamstring or something really small like that was really lingering. Just couldn't get on the field that much. But Mekhi Becton took over, which was another low-risk type of high-reward move sign the Eagles had that seems to be working out pretty nicely. So now with, you have a lot of big decisions to make after this year because realistically, if Lane Johnson's retiring in a couple years, Mekhi Becton can move to that right tackle spot, and Tyler Steen can go right in at right guard if that's where you really want him, if they feel like that he could handle being a starter in his career. And the depth, Jeff Stoutland University, Jeff Stoutland, you can move guys around, you can do whatever you want, but let me tell you, the Eagles will find a way. And this offense, especially offensive line with Jeff Stoutland, always has depth. Okay, if you're not a starter in Jeff Stoutland's offense, you need to know 2 positions, 1 or more positions. You got to know at least 2 positions and play them really well. And I thought Tyler Steen, Fred Johnson, absolutely amazing. Can't complain about it whatsoever. So happy for these two because God forbid you have injuries down the road. You can always move guys around. But because we were kind of nervous about Fred Johnson the last few weeks, because we were like, oh, well, if Fred Johnson starts to mess up, Mekhi Becton will go to left tackle. We can move some guys around. But Mekhi Becton's been out as well with this concussion the last couple of weeks. And, I thought they have done really well. So kudos to those guys and very happy with that. Now, the trade deadline news. Okay, now some news came out. Obviously, take all this with a grain of salt. You always want to take third-party news with a grain of salt. Sometimes it's true. Sometimes it's halfway true. We'll see. So this is what it is. The Eagles are expected to be heavily involved in the trade talks for this week and seek defensive help, per source. Roseman has been looking for linebackers, pass rushers, and even cornerback depth to further solidify the opposite side of the ball. Names to look out for: Josh Uch. Okay, Use, I don't know how to say his name, but Josh Uch was traded already to this was a player that his name was flying around a little bit, traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, 6th-round pick as a rotational edge rusher, pretty productive. The Patriots are not looking good this year, so they're just trying to maybe get some draft capital, stuff like that. So I don't know why an AFC team would trade him to another AFC team. I have no idea why an AFC team would even give the Kansas City Chiefs, on top of a really good defense they already have right now that's playing really better than the KC offense, to get another player like that is just so unfair. But so he is gone off the list as of right now. Greg Newsome, interesting. Zadarius Smith, we talked about him. I think he's on the Packers right now. I'm not sure where he is. Oh no, he's on the Browns, I think. Because he's been to a few teams already. So Zadarius Smith is a little bit older, but I think would be really nice draft compensation. We talk about Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith. We're talking about guys like that on teams that are kind of, they had a big win last week against Baltimore. I don't think that keeps them from really doing anything this year, but they should at least try to put some guys on the trade block. Zadarius Smith has got veteran leadership. Outside linebacker to edge rusher, we're using him as a rotational edge guy. If you don't want to go after the Myles Garretts, the Max Crosbys, which Max Crosby seems to be off the table as of right now. And if I'm not going after Von Miller or Chase Young, I think Zadarius Smith would be the move for me at the end of the day. I really do like him, and I think would be a nice rental for the Eagles where you really don't have to give up that much. But getting corner depth be interesting with now Slay injured with the groin. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. Hopefully by Wednesday or Tuesday. I don't know. Usually we find out fully on Wednesday what's going on with the players here. Isaiah Rodgers getting his start, which we'll probably go into another video about that whole entire situation. But linebacker, are we really set linebacker right now? And we'll get into that position during this as well. But a name that I already mentioned, pass rusher-wise, I think obviously even after this game, I think there was good pressures. Even Jalen Carter didn't do much in this game. I thought he had some good pressures up the middle. But obviously the only sack you had was from Nolan Smith, okay? So not much there on the edge. Bryce Huff didn't do nothing. Jordan Davis actually had a pretty good game against the run. But he's not doing enough as a first-round pick right now. He should be doing a lot more. So I think, definitely the weakest part of our defense right now, even playing at a high level. We'll get into the statistics of Fangio's defense going to the next video tomorrow, the next day, because I want to talk more about this defense and how great they are playing. So we'll see what it looks like. But another trade they could make, like I said, a player that I just talked about before, I think it's going to be Chase Young. I think there's a lot of teams out there having a lot of interest in him. Now, since he left Washington after some gruesome injuries, going to San Francisco, not really even doing much, just being a big part of a deep defensive line last year with the 49ers, now with the Saints, and I didn't really even notice him when the Eagles were facing the Saints this season, okay? So I'm not really big on Chase Young to give away a 4th-round pick, 5th-round pick for him, to be honest with you. I'd give away a 6th or a 7th if that was the case, but not really a big fan of Chase Young, to be honest. I just don't think he has it anymore. I don't know. I feel like he just really hasn't been the same, and would he make a difference here in Philadelphia? Maybe. But nothing that I'm giving a mid-round pick for at this moment. So if we actually sign him, is it a good signing, depending what we give up? up. But is it bad to have him here? Definitely not. You want more bodies, but we'll see where this goes in the near future with Chase Young. So I think that's a name to really look out for. A lot of teams are calling. The Eagles are going to be calling. Howie Roseman is always going to make the call. Doesn't mean that it doesn't mean he's willing to buy, but he's going to check and see what's going on, and we'll see if if the Saints, some teams want a certain pick for a specific player and they don't get it, maybe they lower that trade value, or they might just say, you know what, we're not going to trade anybody. Let's just wait it out. Maybe we'll trade him by the end of the season or something like that. So Chase Young could definitely be there for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, a couple things with the defense. I have to really put a lot on here. Okay, we'll talk more to the better players next week. I want to get into the things that I think are really important here. Deep dive into the linebacker core, where Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond are literally for week 8. Okay, one of the highest graded linebackers in the league on week 8 on Sunday, which is fantastic. 91.3 for Zach Bond, 90.7 for Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean, 9 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a recovered fumble recovery, which was great. Zach Bond had a fantastic game too. And he had his first ever, he actually forced a fumble for the first time in his career. Zach Bond is a big re-sign candidate after this year. This is a player that has been the biggest protege. This was a role player for the Saints at outside linebacker. Okay, literally a defensive end turned to an outside linebacker, role player, couple picks, not really anything flashy when we signed him. I wasn't really too excited about it, but I don't know what they saw in him, but he has been great. Nakobe Dean used a specific way by Vic Fangio on some of the blitzes, and I think he was late to a couple coverages on Sunday. He had one on Jamar Chase. Obviously, this was Zach Bond. I know Jamar Chase was in the slot at one point. They showed on the all 22. Nakobe Dean had some good coverage there. Jamar Chase, but Zach Bond was the one on the line getting in there on a blitz, which was fantastic downhill. Nakobe Dean's been Zach Bond has been both of these guys. Zach Bond's been fantastic. We see what TJ Edwards is doing in Chicago right now. And it's hard to let go of players like that, see them go somewhere else and play really well. And man, been loving these two. Hopefully Trotter can get his shot later on. But I got to say, you got to give this time. Not just linebackers. I'm talking about all the young studs to our defense. It takes time to build this. Okay, it's really scary to think what Fangio's defense is going to look like at the end of the season. And let me tell you, linebacker, we haven't had this much success in years. Even with Jim Schwartz, as much as we've had an aggressive defense with him, he had a lot of veteran favoritism with Derek Barnett and Nate Gary. Didn't know how to use linebackers. Didn't know how. I never took a shot. On young guys. Never did. And unfortunately, this is where we're at right now. And I think, we've built to this moment. So 2 philosophies have changed in Philadelphia. One, you paid a running back $12 million a year, and it's working out for us totally. And number 2, linebacker, as much as you're not drafting linebackers high, you're not paying linebackers big money right now, but the coaching has been exceptional. Okay, what is it? What is his name? Johnny King. What's his name? King. Bobby King, the new linebacker coach that was with Tennessee for a lot of years, or been a lot of experienced coaches, especially at the positional coaches. A lot of those guys are doing a fantastic job. Linebacker is a huge high for us right now, so I think we should be really happy. I mean, I think Zach Bond was leading. I think through week 2 or week 3, he was leading in tackles with like 24, 26. I mean, for the whole entire league of linebackers. I don't know what it looks like now, but highest graded throughout the week. I mean, that's through the week 8. That's fantastic. Can't say anything better about it. Even Nolan Smith has been, 2.5 sacks in 3 weeks. I mean, I can't really complain. Yes, he's a first-round pick. Should he be doing more? Yes. Should he be covering Jamar Chase in the end zone? Probably not. But I got to say, he's starting to get his groove on right now. Attacking a gap, not full-on bull rushing, using those extra tools, because those extra tools in his toolbox, he flourishes when he attacks a gap. So he gets a sack on Sunday. I mean, fantastic. Nolan Smith making plays is fantastic, because obviously Bryce Huff was a no-show. He's been very on and off, but a no-show. But hopefully we'll have better weeks going forward. But Nolan Smith, though, catching his high right now. He's starting to really break free a little bit, and very happy for this situation going forward. I want to see him in coverage. I really want to see him rush the passer, obviously, with another offseason under his belt, put more muscle on, and, we'll see what he could do. But Nolan Smith, I'm going to give respect where it's due, and Nolan Smith has been producing, and I think that's all we've been really looking for, at a first round pick. This is why we paid a lot closer attention to him, because like I said, he is a first round pick, and a guy that was barely used last season. I know he got hurt once, but Sean Desai never used him ever. There was questions asked middle of the season last season, like, why don't you use Nolan Smith? And he's like, oh, well, Sean Desai was like, well, there's only so many snaps you can give guys, blah blah blah. It's a big excuse. Never. It's a first round pick. You cannot rest. You can't just have a guy play special teams all year. It's just not. Starting to have a voice with the defense a little bit. Getting the guys prepared, which is great. So Nolan Smith, I can't complain about it at all. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about the trade Howie Roseman will make at the trade deadline. Will it be for depth at corner? Will it be for an edge rusher? Do you go cheap? Do you go mid? Do you go high tier in Myles Garrett? Do you go mid tier Zadarius Smith? Do you go low tier in a Chase Young, Von Miller type move, or do you just sit still and maybe get depth somewhere you really need it? You're going to have Covey back soon. You're going to have Mulata back soon. You're going to have Bradbury coming back, and that's going to be a whole different story going forward with this team. So you guys let me know. How do you guys like Fred Johnson in this offense? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope everyone's been very happy with Tyler Steen and Fred Johnson. Make sure you subscribe to the show for more Eagles news every single day. And make sure, you like the video, because it helps out the channel tremendously. And hope everyone's having a good week. Very good week, because we should all be very happy right now. Feel very excited at 5-2. And, it's very exciting. So let's appreciate everybody joining up today. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes one up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.